What's going on today, everybody? In today's video, I'm gonna give you my impression of the first 10,000 miles, my 2019 Subaru STI. I'm just gonna call it 10,000 miles. The car actually has about 12,000 on it, but the first grand, you know, it's usually break in for some people. Some people like to baby it. You know, I like to personally drive it as I'm going to drive the vehicle overall. About the first, 250, 300 miles for myself is easy. And then after that, kind of just breaking it in how I'm gonna be driving it. Just some general overview here. I'm gonna be going through some of the maintenance I've done 10,000 miles or 12,000 miles, should I say. Some things that may or may not have went wrong with it. Mine is modified. For a full description of all the mods, check out my channel. There's videos on everything that I've done to the car thus far, but just a short overview of that. We're at 390 wheel horsepower, Cobb 20G, full stage 3 plus E85, all supporting mods for about the last 3,500 miles or so. All the mods went on about 8,500, so 8,500 to 12,000 where it currently sits is what we've been running on since then. But prior to that, car was stock outside of some suspension work, full coilovers, sway bars, end links, all that. One of the modifications that I would definitely recommend to the STI right out of the gate is to change the shifter bushings. Just enhances the feel of the car that much more. That sloppy shifter from the factory, you kind of change them out. I use Cartboy, so I'll say for 65, 70 bucks. I mean, it's a very cheap upgrade, and truthful honesty, you could probably buy them ahead of time, go ahead and have them, swap them out, and just make your life that much better right out of the gate. Just some tidbits here. Maintenance, as far as the maintenance goes for me, I do oil changes every 2,500 miles or so. I am a Brotella fan. Now, I know some people will complain about the type of oil everybody uses. I've used Rotella in everything I have, cars, bikes, all that for the last 20 some odd years. I've never had any issues with it. I'm a firm believer that just keep it clean, keep it fresh, change it often. Again, I'm not an oil nut. Just whatever works is my opinion. So just, you have a specific brand that you use, keep using it and keep doing what you do. So every 2,500 mile oil changes. E85 now, probably bump that up to every 2,000 miles, just for oil dilution, stuff like that, the E85 can do. Now, speaking on another part of maintenance, change of spark plugs to a one-step colder NGK. That wasn't any fault of the spark plugs from the factory or anything like that. That was just because we went stage 3 plus and needed to use the one-step colder plugs, or they were recommended, I guess you could say. Air filter, another general maintenance item. Carbon SF filter, so just I'm checking it, make sure it's not dirty, cleaning the MAF at the regular oil changes and stuff. Just general maintenance overall. Haven't changed the diff oil or anything like that. Still run stock clutch, everything. Nothing's, like I said, nothing's failed like that. So far, general maintenance seems to have gotten it done, so we'll just keep up with it. As far as anything that has happened to the vehicle overall in those 10 to 12,000 miles of ownership, I've personally not had any issues from the factory. Everything's holding up as well as it should. Nothing's broken prematurely that I haven't broke myself trying to change things. I have stripped a few bolts and nuts here and there, but no fault of the Subarus. It's my own personal doing. But you can see, let's get under the hood here. You can see some of the mods. Like I say, they've been on here since about 8,500 miles. The newer ones, I think, from 18 and up. Subaru didn't do us any favors with the factory suspension. It rides extremely harsh. It doesn't really like to respond well to lowering springs. Case in point, coilovers or nothing. I mean, 17s and below, lowering springs I think tended to work better. But with the 18s and up, I actually contacted Race Comp Engineering about that, and they're the ones that kind of turned me on to the fact that if you put lowering springs on the 18s and up, kind of makes that much worse. I wanted coilovers to begin with, but they just went down that route and told me that if you do lowering springs on the 18 and up suspension, something to do with how Subaru designed the shocks themselves, Can't really remember all the details. It's been a year and a half or so or better now, probably 2 years ago now. You know, so let's say 12,000 miles on the car, nothing's went wrong. It's not died yet. Took a 500-mile road trip there recently. We're not eating any oil, as everybody suspects Subarus do. Changed the oil before I left. Went 500, 600 miles, all kinds of hills, to and from, cruise control, 70, 75. Come home, checked it, still full. I mean, I've never had any oil consumption issues for the last 18, 19 years of ownership out of the Subaru brand. Let's say I had an 02 WRX for 10 plus years, 09 STI and 2016 STI, and then this one. They say they've never left me stranded. Can I attest to the brand's overall reliability? Yeah, for me, Subaru's been pretty daggone reliable, but for somebody else, they may not have been. And that's just my general overview of the first 12,000 miles of ownership of my 2019 STI. So they say the car's coming up on 3 years old. Bought it in January of 19, actually. Going forward, I'll give you all a review of 5-10,000 miles at 390 wheel and see if it dies then. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. We'll catch you in the next one.